Hi everyone, welcome to Maitri Plays Games. My name is Maitri and I am very passionate about tabletops and I am trying to be a better GM, better player, and a better person. And I want to share with you some of the cool stuff that I've been learning. Today I want to talk to you about two distinct but overlapping types of using magic in different games that I've learned about. Mercurial Magic versus Vancian Magic. So to differentiate the two, first we're going to outline sort of a basic assumption, which is that magic exists in the world and can be harnessed or tapped into. Basically, where the differentiation comes in is the way raw power is harnessed to be used. So the first method is that someone learns how to use spells, either having to refresh or memorize anew each day, having a book with instructions, that the magic user can use, that they have a handy. The power embedded in these magic formulas transfer into the magician's mind, and they can then use that as fully formed spells later. This is called Vancian Magic. It's named after the writer Jack Vance. I'm not a big fantasy or sci-fi reader, so I'm not sure if there was like a specific book or book series, but that's what I found in doing research for this video. That sort of traditional wizard approach to learning spells and then doing them when called for. You memorize how to use the magic and then you utilize it based on your learning. So your growth as a wizard is sort of being able to learn more spells and being able to learn more complex spells and perhaps being able to learn for a longer duration of time and keep it in your head for a longer duration of time. The second method for the magic user is directly use the energy that's available in the environment in that moment without having a spell stored ahead of time. Right now, probably the best known example of this is Goodman Games DCC and also Wild Magic in D&D, where you basically kind of do a thing and then roll on a table for the unintended side effect of just using magic without the constraints of predetermination or ritual. This second kind of magic and the way to use this is called Mercurial Magic. I wasn't able to find out why it's called that, so if anybody knows, definitely point in that direction. My current theory is that it's a co-option of mercurial as an adjective, which is not really used so much anymore, but it's kind of an archaic way to describe someone who is volatile, someone with an unpredictable temperament. Under the influence of the planet and god Mercury. So going back to these two types of harnessing magic, generally what you see narratively in games is that kind of Vancian magic has a study and a discipline, some kind of guardrail sort of associated with it. Mercurial magic tends to be more innate and intuitive and environmental. So when you have stories of like mages aspiring to be liches, they're trying to break the rules of life and of magic and to go beyond them usually. That's sort of peak Vancian magic. So great example of peak mercurial magic users are Merlin or Gandalf, who are incredibly powerful, and their growth of power has been how much they can take and use from the land. And if they are in a place of great evil, they are themselves diminished. So as magic users in a Vancian magic system get more powerful, they get more capable of learning and storing a higher quantity of spells, more complex spells that can have bigger impact. An easy way to think of this is when you level up in D&D, you get more spell slots, you get access to higher level spells. You get access to new spells. When magic users in a Mercurial Magic system get more powerful, because the action is much more sort of spontaneous and innate, they become able to shape the magic around them in more differentiated, in bigger ways, but may have bigger unintended consequences as well. In DCC, this is gamified by sort of moving up a dice chain as you level. So where you would have only rolled a d8 on your consequence before, now when your spells are more powerful, the consequences table opens up and you have 4 new consequences to deal with. And now you're rolling a d12 because that can happen now. So even a more traditional fantasy magic, like, you sometimes have Mercurial Magic story beats. So, like there are ley lines in D&D, like Forgotten Realms, I think. Definitely they've made appearances in Critical Role. They create areas of intense magic power and of capability, which really allows for sort of learned practitioners of magic to do really wild things that they may not have been able to do otherwise. Like a ritual to try and bring down a flying city. Or there may be prison complexes that have anti-magic fields placed on them to prevent even the most disciplined magic user from being able to, do anything there, because it is such an intense spell and it has to be sort of maintained actively, through really powerful runes or, whatever. But it is finite. Removing the ability to harness magic from a world with magic is intense. It's like creating a vacuum where a vacuum is not intended to be. It can definitely be done, but it's super intense. It's typically very finite, and it can probably only be done by a few people. So anyway, I'm not here to say like one is better than the other. I just thought it was super cool to have like these two different ways of, like, I had not really thought about sort of how you use magic in different games and what that sort of implies about the magic system and how magic is used and considered in a world and universe. And I thought this was really interesting and I really wanted to share it with you. I saw a really cool video by Super Geek Mike. Really cool video about how this manifests in play in D&D specifically, but I think it's broadly applicable, so I'll link that in the description for people to check out. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. But if you don't like notifications or subscriptions, I do have a backlog of stuff, and also I put stuff out weekly. I have also started an audio-only podcast format, if that is better for folks. Like if the YouTube app is not great for you, whatever. All of my links are in the description. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out. Come see me again soon. Bye.